Good morning, a good evening, and good afternoon. This is Nathaniel Kempton Productions here today, and welcome back to Railworks, a train simulator 2018. As you can see, we are on a different railway this time. Ooh, shock horror. I'm building a new railway because I don't have enough railways to build at the moment. You know, Vanaheim, Lakeside, Ferndale, and some other ones. But I decided to build it anyway because I fucking wanted to, so sue me. But anyway, we're not here for that. We're here to have a look at this train spotter. The assets required so far, off the top of my head, are the North Somerset Railway for the track, Exeter Kingsworth for signals and lampposts and some bushes, Malmesbury for the buildings and trees, and West Highland Line for some of the other trees, Mardy, I think, UK Train Sim Lofts thing, and that's about all I can remember off the top of my head. Now, we need to get this train underway. Now, as we mosey along, you will notice that the scenery kind of keeps a little bit level with the track. That is deliberate. Yeah. For a number of reasons. First of all, I didn't really want this to be in a proper valley this time. I wanted it to be in a valley, but not quite such a kind of a big one as I normally do. I just didn't think it really suited very well. So, as you can see, we start off with a 1 in 70 gradient going past the fixed distance signal for Lawgrove Abbey, which is what that railway is called, by the way. We are on the Grove Valley Heritage Railway today. I haven't quite worked out the history of this line just yet, but it will be kind of an ex-industrial landscape. You probably noticed that as we go along. So, break off of the side of the engine and just have a very quick pan around. You can see the scenery is quite open. It's quite empty, to be perfectly honest. There's not much there, to be fair. That's the way I wanted it. While we ponder along this 1 in 80 gradient, I'm going on holiday on Tuesday the 5th, so I won't be back until at least the 16th of this month, sorry. Be back in time for Father's Day. I'm going on a holiday with my grandparents. We're going to the Paignton and Dartmouth Steam Railway. So I'll be bringing my video camera, doing a little bit of filming here and there. And also doing some filming on Father's Day because we're going to the Linton and Barnstable Steam Railway. Lawbarrow videos will start again soon as well. I've done a little bit of work to the layout since the last time you saw it, so I'll be showcasing the changes to the layout. Other than that, really, there's not much going on in the NK Productions office at the moment. Monetary problems are sort of cancelling out Project Ryzen, which is a shame, because I was really looking forward to doing that with you guys. But hey ho, shit happens. Mainly to me, it seems. Wrong side. I'm on the driver's side today. There we go. Steam on. Bit of water. You may shout at me and say that's the wrong way round. You should do the water first to cool the injectors down. But this is the way that I've been taught by the qualified fireman at Woody Bay. So If you think it's wrong, you need to tell him, not me. That's the way I've been taught. Steam first, then the water. That's what I've been taught to do, so that's what I'm going to carry on doing. Little occupation bridge just here, we've just gone over it. It's about the only underbridge there is on this railway, actually. That's about the only one there is, because the scenery is all level with the track. I've tried very hard to get it to look a little bit like a moor. So there's not many trees, there's a few dotted around, just because I didn't want it to look too empty. I need to sort the grass out. As you can see, it kind of just stops. I need to feather it up to the top of the hills there. I also wanted to talk a little bit about screen recording software. When we stop at this next station, you can see Fossgrove. We'll have a little look about. There's not much at Fossgrove. It's only an intermediate stop, little island platform on a 1 in 100 gradient, so we've sped up quite significantly now, and trying to balance the speed to stay consistent is quite difficult with the 3F Ginty here. So I'll give a blast at this blast of the whistle at this distance signal, so the station staff at Fossgrove know that we're coming. And I'll talk about stream recording software. I use, at the moment, NVIDIA Shadowplay. It's built in to the GeForce experience when you buy and install an NVIDIA graphics card. I don't know if it's all NVIDIA graphics cards or just the GeForce ones, I'm not sure. But, as you can see, top right, I'm getting at least 50 FPS at the moment, 40 to 50, which is average on this route really, mostly all round. Sometimes it does spike because the scenery isn't complete everywhere. Quite a few people, myself included, started off with fraps, which is what the frame rate count up there belongs to, you may have noticed. While we sit here, I'll have a little look about. As you can see, it's a very simple little island platform with a platform face either side. The station building is at ground level. This is inspired by Haven Street on the infamous Isle of Wight steam railway, just because, well, there wasn't any room for a station building here on the island platform. Tiny car park, little bit of space for permanent way over here by the fence, and a road with a few houses that lead off into the infinite distance. You can see it disappearing over there and then reappearing up there to the town. Little signal box over here and a little foot crossing to gain access to the platform. You can see there's another little train spotter there. Looks like the brother of the other guy down the end. We've just got a different jumper on. That's all there is to it here, really. There's not very much at all. I tried to keep it kind of open and barren and empty. I haven't put any of the benches down yet. As you can see, it's just got lampposts at the moment. Oh, I'm doing this really bad. What is wrong with me? There we go. I wanted to talk about screen recording. Back onto that now. I started with something called Fraps, which quite a lot of YouTubers start with. There's nothing wrong with it initially. The main problems I have with it are this. I've got it running in the background. As you can see, I'm using NVIDIA Shadowplay at the moment. You can see we're getting about, what's that, 30 FPS? So, I'm now going to hit the F10 button, which records with Fraps. There we go, we're recording with Fraps now. You can see the frame rate has dropped. Well, I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's dropped to about 20 frames per second. and I hit the unrecord button, and we jump back up to about 40. This is the main reason I don't like using fraps anymore. It was okay to start with when I first got into YouTube, and the same thing happens with one called Bandicam. It's the same sort of thing. I don't know why. Now, both Bandicam and fraps charge you, I don't know how much it is for a license or a subscription or something, I'm not sure. But Shadowplay is free when you buy an Nvidia graphics card. It's already there in the drivers. It just exists. I wasn't aware of this when I first got this graphics card. I was still using fraps. Anyway, that's enough about screen recording software. We're here to talk about choo-choo trains. So as you can see, north of Fosgrove is even more empty and barren. This is mainly because I haven't actually finished doing this section yet, but we'll ignore that. There's still a few trees dotted around. They thin out a little bit. And if I leave the engine there and sort of fly up a little bit, you can see that I've tried to add a little bit of colour to the grass. There's a little bit of rapeseed over there, some dark grass there, some more rapeseed over here. I've tried desperately to break up the colours with this route. So I didn't want it to all be one uniform colour of green, because that looks shit. So I've tried to break it up as best I can. There's not much scenery on this section, so once we pass under this bridge for Baskerville Farm, I will do a jump cut. I'll do a jump cut and then rejoin you on the approach to the third and final station on the Grove Valley Heritage Railway. I don't know when this route is going to be for release. I've kind of really started this route as a kind of just an excuse to do something, to be perfectly honest. There's nothing really that serious about it. But I'll release it nonetheless. So we're under the bridge, and I'll do a jump cut, and I'll catch you at the other end of the line. Okie dokie. We are on the approaches to the third and final station. I'm just shoveling a little bit of coal in the firebox to try and bring this pressure back up a little bit. But over here you can see there is a little bit of a lake and remnants of an ex-industrial narrow-gauge mineral railway. I don't really know why I put this in. I kind of just, well, I wanted to be honest. The gradient is a little bit ridiculous on the mineral railway over there. It starts at about level, and then it gets to about 1 in 55. Then that gets to 1 in 20, which is fucking ridiculous any way you slice it. So it would have been cable worked incline, at least in the middle with the 1 in 20 section. If we jump across, you can see I've just used a ruined cottage from, I want to say, Sutton Carlisle, I'm not sure. That's the old engine house for the moment, because they're about the only sort of dilapidated buildings in railworks that actually look half decent. So, as for the history of this railway, I'm not sure. Other than the interchange at this station with the narrow gauge mineral railway, I don't know. I don't know anything else. I've not worked anything else out. I'm not sure where it's set, where in the country it's going to be set. I'm thinking, as my usual thing, Great Western Territory, but a little bit further north. It could have been a what-if railway line, I suppose. That would be a fun thing to have. It's really difficult to listen to the sound of the injector on a moving engine. It's not very easy at all. It's a little bit easier in real life because you can sort of hang out the cab and have a look at the jet of steam, but that's not very well simulated in our beloved Railworks game. So, large ejector on as we arrive at Renwick. This platform is incredibly short, so I'm going to have to do this from the fireman's side, I'm afraid. Yeah, I know. Minus 10 points for realism. Yep, and we leave the coach behind. And that's the most important thing to check, is that you've left the carriages behind. Many a railwayman have accidentally rolled forward into the head shunt with their coaches. So I'll dump the engine in the head shunt up here, and we'll have a little look around at Renwick and see what's here. I find shunting with the Ginty very difficult because it doesn't roll very well. So I'll put the handbrake on and then release the steam brake. Set the point. Then the signal has a little bit of a heart attack and then resets itself. So here we have Renwick Station, which is big enough for about 4 coaches in an engine. You could reasonably squeeze 5 in an engine in, but it's pushing a little bit because the run-round loop isn't exactly long enough, really. Siding, whoops, over here, you can see. This would probably just be used for storing coaches, potentially spare engines on busy gala days. Not much else, really. You've got, over here, you can see the embankment for the mineral railway, which fans out rather into this big embankment where they would interchange with the standard gauge. If we zoom forward a bit, you can see the remains of the standard gauge railway would have gone through there, under that bridge, through that cutting and off round the rest of the valley. But this is the only section that they've managed to keep. Takes about an hour to do a round trip, as you see. That took me half an hour, but it only took you probably about 15-20 minutes with all of the gumph in the middle cut out. So yes, this is the Grove Valley Heritage Railway, the Grove Valley line. Release date unknown, because I'm going on holiday and stuff, so I don't really know. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you later.